I can never understate the importance of music when it comes to gaming. That's why I'm always kind of looking out for the best headphones, earbuds, whatever it may be, so that I can have the full immersive experience when I'm playing games on my PC or on any of my consoles. Previously on this channel, we reviewed the Razer Hammerhead earbuds and also the Airpods Pro Max for gaming on your PC. And both of those headphones and earbuds were really great. And most gamers typically use headphones when it comes to gaming, especially when they're playing multiplayer games or they live with loved ones. It's a lot easier to put headphones in, immerse yourself that way, don't disturb anyone else around you. And with features like noise cancellation, the software where you can kind of tune the EQ to what you want, the headphones and earbuds industries when it comes to gaming is pretty far ahead. And then you may be like me, someone who does not mind having headphones on, but I cannot have headphones on for too long just because it gets hot, it gets uncomfortable, and I want to switch to my gaming speakers or just speakers of some sort that will just give me at least something close to it when it comes to the immersion. Many people tend to look on the budget side of things when it comes to speakers. I've had these creative Pebble speakers, they're pretty cheap on Amazon. You can tell there's a lot of dust around it. Damn. I've also had the Logitech Z series speakers, really old ones that you don't get anymore, which came with a subwoofer and everything as well. And these speakers typically did the job. They did what they were supposed to when it comes to just kind of giving you that sound, but it's not necessarily something that's immersive, something that kind of emulates what you feel in those headphones. This is what led me to pick up the Edifier MR4. I would continually see these speakers pop up on my Amazon, and I was wondering what they were, what the whole story was. Got really good reviews, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna order them, try it out, and let you know what I think. Before we jump in and look at the actual speaker, these are what they call bookshelf studio monitor speakers. So typically they're meant for studio settings where, you know, you're recording artists, stuff like that, where you're looking for these kinds of speakers that are able to kind of give you that neutral tone. When it comes to the neutral tones, it's basically giving you the most accurate sound of any instrument that you're playing. A lot of times with headphones or when you're using different software, stuff like that, they do kind of bump it up and down the different parts of the song or the game in order to kind of, you know, fit what you enjoy. But this is supposed to be as accurate as you possibly can get when it comes to the sound and the instruments. These speakers also do not have a dedicated subwoofer attached to it or something you cannot attach directly into it. It does not mean you cannot attach a sub to this. I'll talk about that later in the video, but as a whole, when you buy this product, you will not really get that big bass if you are someone looking for that big sub bass. So let's take a look at the speakers. So before we start talking about the features of the speaker, of course the main thing will be how much does it cost. This is 120 USD. For 120 USD, you of course get both the speakers and that's about it. So just looking at it, I'm sure the first thing you might notice or think about is how big the speaker is. Just to give you an idea, this is around 8.5 inches in length. And looking at it in terms of width, it is around 5.5 inches. And of course, we're looking at the depth of the speaker, 6.5 inches. So when it comes to the size, it is a pretty big speaker. Now, as good as a speaker might be, that's one thing you need to consider, because depending on what your setup is, these speakers might not fit or might not meet your aesthetic. I did have to move my monitor ahead a little bit so that I could fit both of these speakers. They do kind of touch the monitor in the back just because I like having my monitor pushed back. So that's something you need to consider when it comes to these speakers. Of course, the other thing would be how do you turn it on? We have a on and off button here. You just click on this and now it is on. It has two different modes. I don't know if you see it here, but the red is a monitor mode and then green is music mode. So if you want to go to the monitor mode, you just click this and now it's in monitor mode. You click again, it's in music mode. Now, from my understanding, the monitor mode is typically meant for more of that studio setting when you're using it for recording, things like that. I tried both of these settings in games and in music, and I honestly could not tell the difference. I'm sure there'll be someone out there that knows everything about this and knows that there is a big difference for them. But as a casual listener, you won't necessarily notice a difference. I just keep it on music because that just feels right to keep it on music. One big feature of the speaker is that it is made with a wooden cabinet. What that does is supposed to reduce the acoustic resonance. So it's supposed to be a much better sounding speaker than something that's not made with a wooden cabinet. Up top here, you'll see this silk dome tweeter. This is really good. This is kind of what projects the treble in any music, anything that you might hear. And of course, we've got this 4-inch woofer. This is kind of providing that sub sound. Obviously you have like the natural sounds that come through it as well, but again, it's important to know that this is not really going to give you that thunderous bass because it is two active speakers on its own. Then in front, of course, we've got the aux cable. You can connect an aux cable into this to play any of your music from your phone, iPod. I don't even know if you have iPod anymore, but if you wanted to, you can connect your iPod to this. And of course, there's a headphone jack as well in case you want to listen to something on your headphones through these speakers. Now, why don't we actually kind of flip this over and look at it from top down. I do apologize for this shot being a little tilted because all the wires are connected in the back. It was a bit of a hassle kind of bring everything out, but I'm hoping I can explain everything that's in the back from this angle here. So the first thing at the top that you'll notice is that it's got two EQ settings. One's for low and the other one is for high. Both of these for me are set to 0. I have messed around with them quite a bit. They don't really give me the change or kind of what I'm looking for, especially with the low EQ settings. It's not going to give you any thunderous bass, anything like that if you just put this all the way high or anything like that. And similarly for the high EQ settings here, it kind of made some of the sound just feel a little bit too sharp, if that makes sense. Again, like it wasn't really giving me kind of what I would look for in any sound, but you have the option if you know what to kind of do with these. I keep both of them at 0, and for me that's a pretty good experience. Next we have the RCA cable spot. These two convert into the auxiliary cable on the other end that connects into your PC or whatever other device you might have. So this is kind of just a very standard set of cable spots. Underneath we have the TRS cable spots. So this is something where you can kind of use your musical instruments kind of connected through there. It's very similar to the wire that I have with my electric guitar. So you can just probably kind of plug that in. I haven't tried that out, but this is, again, like this is meant to be studio solution monitor, obviously alongside it being able to be used on a PC, but it is a studio setting set of speakers as well. And underneath this, we have these two cable spots. So this cable actually comes with the speakers when you buy them. And I'm just gonna take one of these wires out so you can kind of see what it is. So these wires connect into your other speakers, the other Edifier MR4 that is. I've never had to use cables like this to ever connect to speakers or anything. So I was unsure what the expectation was or if I'll do it right, but it is pretty easy. You just kind of take this end of the wire, which is kind of exposed, flip this thing so you kind of expose that little circle area there, slot this in like so, and let go, and that's it. The speakers are now connected. And of course, we've got this cable here that is connecting to the power, so you gotta connect it to a power unit, anything that you might have on your side. Now that we've had a chance to look at the speakers more in depth, why don't we go back to discuss how I'm going to be testing this. Now, like my 8-bit DO video, I do want to do some tests and show it to you and kind of show you what I kind of see from this or feel. But with this being an audio system, it's really hard to capture it on my microphone. But it doesn't mean that I won't try. I'm going to still use this microphone. I just want to make sure that it is clear that this microphone will not capture every little bit of detail from these speakers. And in no way should this be the key thing that makes you make a decision. I'm hoping that me describing what I'm feeling and the sounds and everything will help you kind of get there. Now, same as before, I'm going to test these speakers on a couple of multiplayer games, see how I hear the sound, the footsteps, stuff like that, where the gunshots, all that stuff is happening. Of course, also single player games, anything that has some nice music, ambiance going on in the background, anything like that where I can kind of feel or get an idea of the soundscape and things that are happening in that world. And of course, I'm also going to do fighting games because I like fighting games and I want to see how this sounds in that. So let's get testing. Okay, so first game we're going to be checking out is Fragpunk. Before we play the game and actually kind of show you what it sounds like, I have it on mute right now. I did test out to see how much this microphone picks up from the speakers, and it doesn't really kind of show you what I feel. I was trying to see if it does come close to it. As you can imagine, this is a microphone not really meant to record a speaker for a video like this. What I'll try to do is do my best to describe the sounds, especially when it comes to playing an FPS game like Fragpunk, and kind of telling you whether or not it's useful or whether or not I find it to be immersive in a multiplayer game like this. So why don't we jump in? I am going to unmute now. It is at level 4 right now, which is pretty loud already. So, all right, it's around 76, 75 on my PC here, just because I find this a good level for me to kind of hear what I need to hear. All right, so let's jump into this. I've only played this game once. So already with the music and everything like that, it sounds great. You know, like you do pick up that you're not getting that bass. So already, oh my God. Great, that was not good. Already I can tell you the directional audio is not bad. Sorry, I gotta pay attention. Oh my god. Okay. So the directional audio definitely is not as great as a headphone set, which of course makes sense. Try to do my best to kind of just hear the steps. See that gunshot? I heard it from behind me, but there's no one behind me, so it's... So the directional audio for the gunshots is kind of hit or miss from what I can tell right now. When someone is shooting in front of you, it does a good job. But when it's left or right, it's not like you can hear it, but it's not as precise, I guess. So I'm hearing stuff on the left side now. I was gonna switch around, and I'm hearing stuff on my right. But in terms of what I'm seeing here, I don't see anything happening on my right. Is it? I guess it's meant to be behind me. So you can already tell that when it comes to multiplayer games, the speakers aren't really meant for that. I don't know if you hear it, but like there's a lot of shotgun sounds, and the shotgun sounds sound really powerful. Oh my god, yeah, that was bad. So the shotgun sounds, anything like explosive, sounds really great, but without that sub punch, you know. And it is weird because there's no subwoofer, or it has subwoofers to a degree. It's like very tiny, I guess, on the speakers. But like I do feel like a bit of like a vibration, not like something like crazy, but you can tell that it's trying to emulate that sub sound. All right, now that we've tested this one out, I think we can move on to our next game. Okay, so now we're checking out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's gonna be looking a little stretchy on my side, but on your side, it should look fine. Now, this is one of those games which is kind of solely meant to be played single player. Of course, it's a single player RPG. And I honestly love the music, the immersive feel you get just kind of on your horse, riding through the woods, stuff like that. So I thought that this would be perfect to kind of test out the speakers. Already, just the loading music already kind of feels really good. These speakers are loud. Like I told you, I'm at 4 out of 10 right now. So the fact that I'm getting this much like sound from just that is already amazing. And it's weird, like there's a lot of little things that you pick up that you might not pick up when you have a headphone that's very heavy in bass, or if you have a set of speakers that also has a subwoofer with it. Sometimes the subwoofer itself kind of muffles the overall sound, what they're trying to kind of get to you. Right, so we're just here walking around. Here's a guard who looks kind of drunk. So already just like the dialogue and everything comes really well. The footsteps and everything like that. There's obviously like a background soundtrack going on at the same time, which is just awesome. Like it sounds really good. Like I could hear like water dripping somewhere right now. Oh, never mind. It's just pigs that are rolling in a bunch of mud. But I mean, it's awesome, right? It kind of adds to the immersion. And like everything picks it up, of course. Right, why don't we get till morning time and walk around and everything like that to kind of see how it feels going through the woods and just kind of roaming the world. All right, the city is bustling. Things are happening. Honestly, this is kind of where I feel like these speakers really shine. You can literally hear like the sounds of, obviously you can hear this in headphones too, but you can hear the sounds of all like the birds and everything, just the grass. It's just great that this can emulate what headphones or earbuds, something that's directly on your ear can, just with these speakers. And like I mentioned, these speakers get loud. So right now I am pretty close to the monitor, pretty close to the whole PC thing in general, but you can actually kind of sit back and be fine and hear everything you want to hear. Kind of like with Fragpunk, when we're on the horse, I do notice that you don't really get like those thump sounds for the horse that's galloping. You would normally get that in your headphones, or if you have something which has a subwoofer fully, like a proper sub attached to it. But anytime right now, there's this like serene soundtrack playing in the background, just kind of violins or the harp or whatever that's kind of playing in the background. Things like that really stand out in these speakers. If you're someone that really likes kind of that neutral sound, nothing that's muffled by sub or the subwoofer or anything like that, and you don't care too much about the bass, this really stands out. And for the price, I think this is really good. All right, now that we've taken in the scenery in Kingdom Come, why don't we jump into something a little bit more action-paced with something like Street Fighter 6. So Street Fighter 6 has like a really good like kind of theme song in the background, and also when you're kind of selecting players or the characters. All right, it's already much better. And I will say the bass, surprisingly not bad right now. Wow, I'm really liking this. Is crazy. I did not think Street Fighter 6 will be the game that really kind of pushes these speakers to a level where I really kind of enjoy it. Street Fighter 6 menu music itself is really good. Wow. Same thing right now, when you make a selection, you get like that kind of really punchy sound. And these speakers really captured quite well. Again, these speakers do not have a proper like a subwoofer attached to it. Obviously, the speakers themselves have a subwoofer to a degree. I'm not very good with Terry, but I am learning. Okay, honestly, all the punchy kind of sounds that you would wanna have kind of feel punchy, they really do feel punchy with these speakers. Like, do they come close to a proper sub? Like, not fully, right? But it's not that bad. Like, it's surprisingly good. If you're someone that likes kind of just listening to music on its own, don't really care about the sub or the bass too much, these speakers will fit right at home. And if you're someone that likes bass but not that much, again, these speakers will still call to you. These are really good that way. Okay, now that we've tested out these 3 games, different genres with these speakers, why don't we go back to discuss my overall impressions. So now that we got a chance to actually play the games and see how the speakers stand out for different types of genres, it was clear that when it comes to any multiplayer game, it's not really good for any directional audio. At the end of the day, it is 2 speakers that are in front or behind your monitor. So there's only so much that it can pick up and also provide to you. If you're looking for that directional audio, then of course headphones, something like that is a way better choice. The good thing was when it comes to these types of the FPS games, any multiplayer games, you do get a lot of that feedback, you know, the gunshots, grenades, the boom, all that stuff. And these speakers did do a good job of picking up some of that kind of that sub bass feel. Of course, it's not giving you that shaking bass, but it still does a good job. And for most people, it'll probably be good enough. Of course, where these speakers really stand out is any single player game. So playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there's a lot of soundtrack and serene music playing in the background when you're kind of just on your horse, riding around, or even in the cities. That's where you kind of start picking up really small things, because it is a speaker that's meant to kind of provide this neutral sound. It's more focused on kind of giving you all the different instruments that are playing in that soundtrack. It's trying to like push all of that out instead of giving you a kind of muffled mess. My experience with my Logitech speakers from the past, which had a sub, a lot of times, a lot of the sound and everything when it comes to these single player games, they would get a little bit muffled because the sub would be too overpowered, or sometimes the speakers themselves are just trying to overcompensate each other. Maybe there's too lows, too many highs, things like that. Doesn't mean that those budget speakers aren't good, especially if you do like that sub feel. But if you want to level it up and you are someone that really wants to kind of hear the little bits and pieces of everything happening around you in a game, then these speakers do a really good job. Similarly, when we were playing Street Fighter 6, a big part of that game is the music that's in the menu, the loading screen, stuff like that. And of course, just when you play the game, there's some awesome soundtrack playing in the background. That's really where it kind of hit me. I know, I mean, when a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did a good job, but Street Fighter 6, it was just something about it because I play the game with my headphones on or sometimes with my surround sound system that's outside. So hearing that through these speakers and how it kind of sticks out and how it feels was really, really good. That led me to kind of test this out with just music itself. I know a lot of people will be using their PC not just for gaming, but also listening to music or watching movies. And similarly there, the music was really, really novel in a way. Now I say that because when I listen to music, I usually have my headphones on, like my Airpods Pro Max or my Sony headphones. And those headphones are, at least for me, in terms of the EQ settings, are set to have like the bass a little bit high. And I just kind of left it like that. I never kind of reverted it back to just kind of get that neutral sound. And what I noticed was a lot of songs that I listened to, things that you might listen to today, like Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Metallica, things like that, all of them are really muffled in those headphones because of how high I had the sub. Now, it's obviously simple tuning down of removing the sub or changing your EQ settings, but these speakers kind of actually made me realize how much more was going on when it comes to the instruments and the song itself, just because this does not have a dedicated subwoofer. Now, does that mean that if you're someone that likes that bass feel, you'll all of a sudden be converted? Probably not, but as someone that is a big sub and bass listener, I was pleasantly surprised to the point where I am going to be trying to listen to music more in this neutral sound without the bass so high moving forward. The other thing was distance. I want to kind of quickly just talk about that as well. When you're on your PC and you're close to your computer, your monitor here, you don't really think about distance that way because you're so close to it. You can probably, at least like in my case, you can keep the level to around 4 and bump up the in Windows or in your computer volume to 70 or 80 and you'll get a really good experience. It'll be really, really high. Just to test it out, I did bump up the speakers all the way up to 10 and bumped up obviously my volume all the way up to 100 and it's kind of walked around my condo and it was really, really loud. You can literally hear this anywhere in any room, whatever it may be, in the bathroom, bathtub, anything like that. These get really, really loud. All that to say is that this gives you a lot of options. If you're someone that likes to sit back, you can get a really good experience. You don't need to worry about the volume being too low or also it not picking up all the little details I was talking about earlier. So talking about the equalizer settings, there's not a lot of options. It does give you a couple... What was that? What the hell? Okay, where are the lights? What the hell? Hi, it's me, Hank. Got a couple of questions for you. Right this way. Come on. Right over here. Let's sit you down. Ah, yes. It is me, Hank. And I have some very important questions for you. Okay, hey, what do you want? You mentioned this bass, this sub, all these issues that you face that you're not getting that oomph. Why would anyone want to buy these speakers if you're not getting that oomph? Okay, yeah, so the bass and everything is not the best. It's not really meant for that. It is supposed to be a neutral sounding set of speakers. You can connect a subwoofer to it if you want. It's a little bit of work that you need to do where you get a DAC system, something that's external that connects into these speakers. And that external system is where you connect your subwoofer in. It's a little complicated, but it is definitely possible. Anyone that tells you that size doesn't matter does not have a very big size, you know what I'm saying? So why is the speaker so big? How will you fit it on your desktop PC space? Yeah, okay, so the size is pretty big. It was a little bit of a hassle kind of making sure I fit it on my PC desk space. And if you're someone that goes for a very aesthetic look, something very minimalistic, this might not be the speakers for you. They do sort of stick out. I did have to push my monitor ahead a little bit to kind of fit them in the back, and it did kind of mess up my space in front of the monitor, but I was kind of okay with it just because I don't have too much stuff around. But if you're someone that does like their desk space really perfect, pristine, have things placed specifically around the desk, this will be an issue. So you said that there's no directional sound or whatever. You don't really see it or feel it or what, left or right, whatever, all that stuff. So yeah, why would I want to get this? No directional sound. Look, the directional sound is not meant for, the speakers are not meant to give you directional sound. It is at the end of the day just two speakers, two front facing speakers that you put behind your monitor. So you're not gonna get the directional sound that you typically get in something like your headphones or a 5.1 surround sound system. And even with something like a 5.1 surround sound system, something that I have with my Sonos setup outside near my TV, I still don't get that full soundscape because at the end of the day, it's not right on my ears. It's kind of set up around me. It's meant more for a theater movie experience. So for multiplayer games, directional audio, things like that, this is not what it's meant for. But you'll still have a great time if you do play some of these multiplayer games quite casually. You don't really want to go in the headphones. You're not playing with any of your friends maybe that weekend or that day. You can just play it just on these speakers and everything does sound great. You're not going to be using it to basically play ranked. But if you're just playing an FPS game, team deathmatch, something like that, you're just having fun, it is still a really, really good experience. You're telling me that there's no EQ settings other than those little two knobs? $120 for this? Look, yeah, the EQ equalizer settings, it's pretty limited. It's just two. There's a high knob and there's a low knob. I've messed around with it and it just sounds a little weird, muffled in some cases. I couldn't find it to my liking. I prefer leaving both of those knobs at 0, which is a very neutral sound. I would almost compare this neutral sound similar to what I have with my Airpods Pro, with what I use at the gym. The Airpods Pro are really great for, podcasts, listening to music. But if you're looking for that bass, you do need to kind of go in the EQ settings for your Spotify, things like that, to kind of bump it up. But even then, it doesn't really give you that big bass that you might want. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree that AirPods Pro in general are used as a set of earbuds that are really, really good for listening music. So, I mean, it's the same kind of neutral sound here. Of course, this is just from my perspective. I'm not an audiophile. I don't know all the stuff around the audio systems and everything like that. As a casual listener, that's the comparison I can make. And at the end of the day, it does enhance the overall experience. Like I said, when it comes to music, some of the songs that I normally listen to at the gym with my headphones, they really kind of shine in a different way on these speakers. They really focus on, hey, let's not get the bass and sub muffling anything else. Let's actually talk about and show you the instruments that are playing in the background. Doesn't mean that the bass or the sub is not something that you wouldn't want to hear or anything like that. I mean, I love bass and sub, all that stuff, but this is just doing something different. Why would I not just buy another Logitech or one of those random gaming speakers out in the market? $120 for something like this is honestly not a bad deal. There's a lot of other gaming speakers, the Logitech speakers, even creative speakers that are not as expensive, and they might give you a really good experience for the price that they are. But this is $120, and in many cases it's discounted to around 100 USD for these kind of speakers, something that is meant to be used in a music studio for recording, things like that. You are getting a really good deal in my opinion. Like I said, of course, if you want to go with that bass and the sub route, yeah, you will have to invest a lot of money. It might make the overall price go up to $300, $400, $500 at that point when you have to buy a separate sub, the DAC system that connects into these speakers. But to be honest, comparing this to my old Logitech speakers that did come with a sub, this really does blow it out of the water. I mean, of course, the bass and everything won't be as good, but when I think about it, when I was playing it on my Logitech speakers in the past, a lot of times that bass will be kind of muffled. It would muffle everything else up. And that would also have a bad impact or bad effect on dialogue. So a lot of time when the dialogue was coming through, it wouldn't be as clear as I would want it to be. Oh, I need my wig. I gotta change my locks or something. So overall, for $130, these are some amazing speakers that you can use for PC gaming. They really enhance the sound of any instruments that are playing in the game, or if you're listening to music. They improve the immersion when it comes to any single player games, when you're roaming around the world, RPG stuff, hitting things with a big sword or shooting guns, stuff like that. And they also give you a really good music and movie experience on its own, so you don't really need to just dedicate this or use this solely for gaming. And with the addition of having an auxiliary port where you can connect your aux cable into it, you can use it at a party or when people are over as well. Although it's not really good for multiplayer games for directional audio, it does tick the box for everything else. This is definitely going to be a mainstay for me for my PC, and for someone like me that uses a sub and a bass all the time and kind of needs that bass feeling, this is a big step, this is a big change. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, anything like that, please comment below and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. Hope to see everyone next time. Bye.